Hello, I'm Travis. I'm a mechanical engineering student at MIT, and today we're going to be talking about the vertical bandsaw. We're going to go over operation of this machine, what parts we can make with it, and also the safety procedures included in operating it. Vertical bandsaws come in a number of different shapes and sizes. Today we're using a desktop bandsaw, but in other shops you may find bandsaws that sit on the ground. A vertical bandsaw uses a continuous blade wrapped around two wheels, which is powered by an electric motor. The vertical bandsaw can cut a number of different materials, including plastic, wood, and metal. In some cases, a material may be too hard to cut, so you should talk to your lab instructor to find out if it is safe. You will also want to use different blades for different materials on the bandsaw. For example, you would use a larger tooth blade for cutting softer materials, and a smaller tooth blade for cutting harder materials. The blade also depends on how fast the bandsaw is spinning and the thickness of your material. Let's say you need to resaw this block of wood in half. Or if you need to cut curves on something thinner. Or if you just need to make a cut in a metal part. Before operating the vertical bandsaw, make sure to ask people in your makerspace for help determining what blade to use and what speed to use for working on your project. Let's go over the key components of a vertical bandsaw. On a vertical bandsaw, we have the horizontal cutting table, as well as the blade that runs through the center of the table. Near the blade, there is a blade guard, which both protects you, the user, and also supports the blade with bearings. For cutting, the vertical bandsaw has an electric motor in the back, and it spins a blade around this wheel up here. On the opposite side of the machine, we also have an on-off switch, and then different machines might have different accessories like a light or a fan. One of the reasons you might want to switch out the bandsaw blade is to cut different thicknesses of material. So for example, there's this thick piece of wood and this thin piece of wood. We're going to use a finer tooth blade to cut this thin piece of wood and a coarser blade to cut this thicker piece of wood. That's because we always want to make sure that at least 3 teeth intersect with our material at all times. Thinner blades on the bandsaw are also used for curved cuts, while thicker blades are traditionally used for straighter cuts. The vertical bandsaw might not always be the right tool for your job. You may need to end up using a laser cutter for your wood, or something like a water jet for your metal, or even a mill. The accuracy of a vertical bandsaw really depends on how well you can line things up with your eyes. Using the vertical bandsaw is a subtractive process. As the teeth rotate around, they cut or shear material away from your chosen stock. As well as your standard maker shop safety procedures, we're going to follow a few extra ones when operating the vertical bandsaw. While operating the vertical bandsaw, you don't want to be wearing any gloves, and of course, you want to keep your hands clear of any moving parts. Cutting on the vertical bandsaw is a finesse operation. You don't want to push or pull hard on your material while cutting. While cutting, you should also hear a smooth, consistent noise. If you hear anything out of the ordinary, turn off the machine right away and consult a mentor. Always make sure to keep the case closed when operating the machine. For small pieces, you want to make sure that your fingers never get in front of the blade. So you want to use a push stick or a clamp to keep your fingers safely away from the moving blade. For woodworking, you always want to make sure to use a dust collection system. You also want to make sure to set the blade guide at the correct height above your material. Doing so will protect your hands, and it'll also make sure to support the blade while cutting. As always, if you don't know something, seek out a mentor or somebody knowledgeable in the subject for guidance. Now you know what a vertical bandsaw is, what it can do, and how to safely operate it. Now it's time to go make something. To locate a bandsaw on your campus or other tools you might need, you can always check out the Mobius app. Thanks for watching, good luck, and have fun making.